Hello, I am Xarkun and this is World of Warships Legends. Today we're going to cover the patch notes for the July 2022 update. As usual, everything I present in this video was gleaned from an advanced draft of the patch notes that Wargaming sends the CCs prior to publicly releasing the patch notes. As such, some information may be missing or slightly changed. If you want to read the patch notes for yourself, I left a link in the description. Anyway, on to the updates, and there's not really a whole lot to cover here, honestly, but the stuff we do have to cover is pretty big, so get ready. First up, as you may be aware, the American Independence Day will occur during this update, and there will be a number of goodies up for grabs in celebration of the holiday. Some highlights include a free mission to obtain the Tier 3 Premium USN Battleship South Carolina, Wind Roses for Tier 4 through Legendary Tier USN ships, store discounts for certain bundles, and a Bureau mission that gives American flag-themed camos to Baltimore and Cleveland. Speaking of American ships, the campaign will give you 2 new ones to choose from at the end, much like the campaign that gave out either Friesland or Loyang. In this campaign, called Lucky 6, the ultimate rewards are either the Premium Tier 7 USN Destroyer, the USS Black, or the Premium Tier 5 USN Aircraft Carrier, USS Independence. You can choose one as the campaign reward, but the other one can be acquired for doubloons, if you so choose. Frankly, I think anyone would be insane not to pick the USS Black, which is a Fletcher-class destroyer that carries with it the radar consumable as well as a smoke screen. At least it does on PC, so I assume it will here. And a radar and smoke on a destroyer? That is an OP combination by anyone's standards, and that should make it an incredible destroyer for hunting down and stopping all of the enemy destroyers. So, yeah, if that doesn't sound like a better ship than a premium Tier 5 aircraft carrier based on a Cleveland-class cruiser with fast restoring aircraft, I don't know what to tell you. Obviously, I'm going to choose the USS Black in this campaign, but the choice is up to you. This is a 5-week campaign with 100 milestones, so you'll have plenty of time to consider your options. Next up, we have the new Pan-European destroyer line coming out of Early Access, which means the Tier 7 Ostergotland will become available for research and purchase. If you have not acquired any ships of the branch yet, then you will get the base commander, Conrad Helfrich, when you start. But speaking of Pan-European commanders, a new one is joining the roster. His name is Janko Vukovic, and he's a battleship commander. Why do we need a Pan-European battleship commander? Well, because the Tier 4 Pan-European premium battleship Viribus Unitis is set to be added to the game, and so, by the way, is that Tier 3 American premium battleship South Carolina, which I mentioned, I think, a little earlier. Those are the 2 premium ships being added to the store this update, the Viribus Unitis for the Pan-European battleships, the only Pan-European battleship in the game thus far, and the Tier 3 American premium battleship South Carolina. Now, though, we're going to get to the really interesting part. We all know by now that Wargaming is planning to add a Tier 8 to World of Warships Legends, but we did not know when this would occur or even necessarily how it would occur. Turns out it's set to happen in the update which follows this one. And in this update, some preparations are being made to usher in the new tier. The first is that a special series of daily missions for Tier 7 ships of 4 nations will be added to the game. These daily missions will reward you with a solid amount of additional XP in order to boost your XP on your Tier 7 ships of select nations. This indicates that Tier 8 is being added at the end of the tech trees, which is exactly what I had hoped for and speculated would happen. This is great news. Essentially, this mission, or these missions, are going to let you get more XP, more ship XP in your Tier 7 ships of the various nations that are going to have Tier 8 added on to their tech trees next update. I think that's fantastic. In addition to the XP missions, the entire tech tree will be significantly overhauled with, quote, some interface improvements, end quote, and the removal of the premium ship tab. Furthermore, some economic changes are being introduced. These changes sound absolutely fantastic, and those in the community who took to the forums to complain about the implications of Tier 8, or to complain about what the implications of Tier 8 would have for ship service costs, should rejoice. Service fees are reduced from 101,250 credits to 91,125 credits for Tier 6 ships. The cost of entering battles is reduced by 13.6k credits for Tier 7 tech tree ships and 40.8k credits for Tier 7 premiums. Finally, the credit bonus for Tier 7 premium ships is increased from 15 to 55%. All of a sudden, all of your Tier 7 premiums will become much better economic workhorses, and no changes are announced for Tier 6 premium ships. In fact, the patch notes say that this fundamental change to economics to Tier 7 premium ships will result in both Tier 6 and Tier 7 premium ships being the best, quote, moneymakers, end quote, in the game. How anyone can possibly see this as a bad thing is beyond me, but be sure to let me know your thoughts in the comments. I think it's fantastic. All of a sudden, all of our Tier 7 premium campaign ships are going to be able to farm us a lot more credits. That can only be a good thing, I think. We're actually running out of content to cover in the patch notes now, though. The last section details a number of interesting balance changes, and I think they're all worth covering. The first one is a slight buff to the USS Kidd. It gets the defensive AA consumable added as an option in its 4th slot. The Tier 6 Nagato has its main battery reload reduced from 32 seconds to 29 seconds, and its AP Alpha is buffed from 12.1k to 12.6k. Azuma gets several buffs, but Prince Blip did tell the CCs that the information I'm about to present you from my version of the patch notes is incomplete. But, from what I can see, Azuma's main battery reload is reduced from 26 to 24 seconds, and both its high explosive and armor-piercing alphas get significant buffs. Apparently that's not all, so check out the patch notes for the final details. The rest of the balance changes are for Italian ships, and I suspect you can already guess what's coming. What you might not expect is that the Roma is actually getting a number of buffs. Its HE Alpha is increased. It now gets the exhaust smoke generator. Its damage control party duration is buffed by 5 seconds. Its number of repair party consumables is increased from 3 to 4 at base, and its catapult fighter, spotter plane, and enhanced secondary consumables are moving from the 3rd slot to the 4th. The rest of the Italian tech tree battleships from Tier 4 to Tier 7, with the exception of, I think, Caracciolo, because I swear I didn't see it in the patch notes for this, have their main battery reloads reduced by a couple of seconds, so that's all well and good, but the exciting news, the part I'm sure you're all ready to hear, an optional artillery module has been added for the following Italian cruisers: the Tier 4 Genova, Tier 5 Duca d'Aosta, Tier 6 Abruzzi, and Tier 6 Gorizia. This module replaces high explosive shells with sap shells, and for the Abruzzi it also increases the main battery reload time from 7.5 seconds to 10 seconds. The upgrade is free, and Wargaming asks us to try out this SAP as extensively as possible. They want the data for testing, and the first iteration is expected to, quote, overperform. In other words, I think the Italian premiums might have just become a lot more potent. I'll certainly be excited to see this for myself, and I plan to do a stream as soon as possible when the update drops to test out the USS Black, and especially to test out these Italian cruisers with their SAP, both the light cruisers and the heavy cruisers. Honestly, I couldn't be more excited about that. I think it's going to be quite fun, and really, that's the part I'm looking forward to most in the update. Let me know what you guys think of the update in the comments section. Thank you so much for watching. Give the video a thumbs up before you leave. Consider subscribing if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.